Hey everybody, welcome to D for Play. Got to wait till it says end broadcast. It's so counterintuitive. It doesn't say you're live. It says go live, and then it says end broadcast. Anyway, it should say you're live. But when you can't do it yourself, you have to take what other people have done and offer it up. You know, I've watched, I'm not going to bore you with the 5.8, 5.7, 5.6, 5.5, 5.4, 5.3. Not going to do it. But if you check some notes, expand on the comments I've sent to Billy, you'll see a bit of the record. I had mistaken what Willy Billy Silly had said, where he was saying that someone had spoken to him and claimed that Pax Dei was the first MMO to use Unreal. Now, there are other things we would maybe not easily just call MMO. We might say, well, I can't put that on level with Pax Dei. And that's right, there's many different types, capacities, and a lot of these earlier MMOs were Eastern. I know I got the little face, just to go with that. Because we're in the big world. Can I do it? Give me a break. There you go. Come, Mr. Tallow Man, tallow me some tallow. Anyway, daylight come and we have to do chores. So, man, every time we tune into you, Mr. Bender, Mr. Catnap, Mr. Deep for Play, Mr. NWA, Mr. Dre. Sorry for all them. Never mind. Right! This is trivial. That's what I get for doing cooking on other things. Charcuterie, which is now butchery. If you guys remember the charcuterie. Apparently you say it charcuterie. I just could not say it charcuterie, so I made up this French insanity called charcuterie. Just for fits and shiggles. Now, I often wonder, do we actually need plain suet for anything? Welcome to Pax Dei. If you're just joining me for the first time, which you always could be, someone right now could be tuning in and going, all right, in under 3 minutes, that is the more average time I get on my channel. Can I hold your attention for 12 minutes? 12 minutes. Probably not. If you want to play Pax Dei, I do recommend that you just play Pax Dei. If you already tried playing Pax Dei and you don't like the aimlessness, the lack of direction, I'm putting it as softly as possible. When you hit the ground in Pax Dei, if you're a person who lives inside your own head, right, you have your own theater in there, and you can see things and conceive of things, and your concepts appear before you in, well, as many dimensions as possible. Then Pax Dei is a liberating experience. Because while there isn't anything to... You just have the land, don't you? You have shadows. And my mother's saying goodnight. 84 years old. But I have to, make sure you, if it's possible, until the last day it's possible, tell the people you love that you love them. If tomorrow never comes. Garth Brooks, anyone? Do they know? Does she know? Do they know how much I love them? Right, it's terrible. And if that didn't make you tune out, you may not be my kind of person. So, here in Pax Dei, we're seeing what an MMO needs to be. And many of you have not seen this since WoW. And, well, you've seen EverQuest and all these RuneScape and, all these other things. Plus co-ops, big co-ops, and which are basically big AAAs that allow you to bring in a friend, where you get all the credit and they get to be a scrub, typically. So, or a few scrubs, but you're still the main person who gets to keep all the toys. Now, looking to make sure my mic's on. Anyway, oh, the pollen, the grass, and the pollen. Anyway, I don't know. I just went through the whole cancer thing. Because you have to at 55 with the military. I don't have cancer. It's very nice. So, I don't even have a trace of it. Very nice. I have a lot of industrial waste in me, which is very nice. But none of it is malignant. It's all benign. Or can only be described as benign if it had any chance of being anything else. So praise the Lord for that. Now, it has been a long day. I've had a very long day. And some people would go, no, man, I need an action game. Okay, you're going to hear me say again and again, no more games. PAX Day is not a game. PAX Day doesn't need players. PAX Day needs residents. What? Yes. People who, just like every other game they played, show up. And when people end up having the same schedule as you as they come or go, they see you. You open chat, they see you. We have lore going. I actually responded to it, which means they shut up and went away. Damn it. But, today I found that gathering grain for the bakery can be nearly as perilous as any battlefield. I edged my way along steep cliffs in search of the barley we needed, carefully picking my path and learning to descend the rocky slopes without tumbling into the depths below. I never imagined that baking could begin with such dangerous work. There is a kind of magic in baking. Even in my youth I was fascinated watching flour, water, and yeast come together in dough, and then double or triple in size before it goes into the ovens. Heat becomes, now with rye, that's interesting. They cook it for a very long time in just water, like a 24-hour period at 200 some odd degrees. I know that before long, hungry townsfolk will gather at my door, and I pray they do. And when those first loaves are broken and shared, I shall know that all the perilous journeys for barley and rye were worth it. That is what I'm calling daily lore. Oh, by the way, we're in Selene, the non-role play. Would this be the only one? No. There are others. And if you tune in and check out and you see these... Okay, well, PAX Day, the only video game... So, that's lore friendly. The only video game, this guy's my age, where your in-game house is nicer than your real life house. Now that was Second Life, right? Of course, Nia Maria says, hi, Chuck is dead. You've never seen my house here. Some people have a, should I be concerned with the state of your house? Might be. Might be. And Kale, I quite like my homeworld. It hasn't much stone and wood as Terra, but is notable. I would not trade it for any walls, even these. Wow, it hasn't as much stone and wood as Terra. Interesting. The homeworld statement. I thought we were Terra. No, I'm not going to read it all, but I have time. Look at this. A splendid day. We took Erez out for his first proper training, found the candle holders, and naturally charged them. Erez shouted something about staying together. We did not. Zane went left. I went wherever the screaming was. Erez followed. Excellent healer. Better runner. From a fallen candle holder, I pulled a rosary of the 99 pains. Ancient, mysterious, utterly incomprehensible, and therefore obviously important. Apparently it doesn't have any stats. But I showed Zane. He suggested I wear it. Erez suggested I might soon require all 99. Marvelous, lads. Tomorrow 3 more Remorians arrive. At this rate, we shall have an army by Thursday, or a very experienced healer. Erez's first day is complete. They go on. Elias charged the candle holders. I'm starting to get a meaning on this. I charged after Elias. Erez shouted that this was not how formations work. You could do party chat, by the way, in party groups, right? And clan chat. you can do audio, right? It's been a while. I did it very early when they first started it, which was a while ago. So, holding a rosemary of the 99 pains above his head, as though he had personally recovered the crown of Remoria. I murdered that. He declared it an omen, which I do too. I asked what it meant. 99 victories, Erez, still healing him, quietly corrected. It says pains. Ilias considered this for precisely one breath. Then we have 98 left. And off he went. Tomorrow 3 more recruits arrive. I have instructed Erez to sleep well. I have instructed Ilias of nothing. It is safer that way. So, and Ashtoncroft, Aristoncroft, sigh, I'm off to bed. Gerethal, which sounds like a mentholatum. Gerethal. Another day, or Geritol, what was the senior's vitamin? Another day, another battle. And then Riona. So, if you were patient with that, maybe PAX Day is for you. This is in Selene, the non-roleplay. Now, you will see much more, like, you know, did they have to, like, be so Lori? What do I need? What am I doing? Yeah, what do I need? What am I doing? No, there was something else over here. I don't need it all with me. Right. We have Laud. We have Tallow. You can tell the difference. You can... Well, no, you can't. You can put it in different cases. And then forget you have it locked. Now, Tallow comes up early. Not all of you may remember how the start went. You would get demands for things you couldn't yet do. Like, make a bow. You will find chasing deer with a spear. Well, okay, you won't end up with a lot of deer. I came back with 1. The rest, in the area I was, were too close together to try to take on one. One of the other ones would see, cry out, and their audio cry for help range with deer means run. Long woodstock, ruffled feathers, and rawhide. So we have that, don't we? The first chore was to not miss the steps. I'm making my steps very narrow because, darn it, steps aren't these wide things that we all, if we scale it to the items. So, you know, I tuck things in, I hide things. Most of the people seem to deal with custom. You know, they do something custom to overcome. I better have a lot of rawhide. Or I'll be, ooh, I get an opportunity to make some. If you've joined a clan, is one of my points, you're in the beginning. And we just talked about adding new members and doing training. And healers, which you go out and help, you get experience. And your, of course, ability to heal and your implements of healing and your skill with them increase. Yay. Gotta make some food. We're working on the cooking. How much, yeah, she made some. I don't make much, it's just 2 of us. These were taken in charity and swapped with a whole bunch of nice stuff. That a lay person, that a beginning person can collect. Some higher end buffs, like grapes and things that you can run into when you're running from one land to another. As Garrett brought lots of mustard. They're right outside. I need to build a window so I can shoot at them. It's coming. I got to rebuild these walls. Riveting. See how they're different? It's just, you know, whatever. Hold it. All right, okay. What can you do here? You're down to the helm cap, fur leather, stuff like that. You've made the original leather. You're wearing them. Then, of course, you have the next step. So what's his... He has a grind I need to find here, right? Everything goes straight to the breadbasket of hard. So here we have the hooves. And you're just getting into deer when you get your first leathers, right? Well, you would be if you're moving up. You're just getting your first deer, and you're just looking at I can still get experience off the wooden arrow. It was just on easy with the clovers. I was just like, yes, I made 2 sets of arrows, getting experience. I was like, wow, it feels good to be back. Feels good to start over again. Because of course, wood arrows you're still using. But you just make them out in the field. You could take deer down with them. They're very inexpensive. You could you kite boar, or you could get the enemy a loose or whatever else, just with wood arrows. No, they don't put down quite a hit, but how much of a hit are you going to give? Things are improving with archery, as you've noticed, and hits are getting bigger, and bonuses are going up. Did you catch all that? I mean, before I did an episode. It has Garrett aiming into the sky. I probably should look at it again and get a better summary. So we are looking at a difference now. This used to be much simpler. We didn't have the rough arrow shaft. You just went directly to making arrows, but you had the bow shaft, right? Now you don't even have that. You don't have the opportunity to make a bow yet. Someone could hand you a bow, though. You know, the basic coarse wood bow or the fine coarse wood bow, you can still use those because those are a 0 to 10 skill. But here, let's get ready to get beyond that. One step without... Oh, good. I don't plan. This is just every day in Pax Day. Every day, every day, every day, every day I write the boo-hoo. That was not Elvis Costello unless he's already passed away, which I don't think he has. Yeah, how many feathers? Yeah, this is why you just keep on that trickle-down economy on feathers. Someone's always got to be... Here's some existing already. Here's some arrow tips that Garatina has made for her own progress, of course. Respect other people's progress, of course. My goodness. Don't disrespect another's progress. They're working hard in Pax Day. You want to do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Now, if you like evil things done, there are games where you do evil things to each other. They are games. You're playing games. Games without frontiers. War without fear. Or without tears. Games without frontiers. War without tears. If looks could kill me. Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened? Ooh, I got stuff, right? Little leather pouch. Okay, those were not the rewards before. Rewards, excuse me. Those were not these. The divine sends you this. Look what you can make now. You've thought of this, and as we Christians do, we're supposed to give glory to God for just our breath, our very breath. Start there and follow that. If you appreciate your breath as third on the list, okay, start with the first on the list. Unless it's just Pringles. Whoa. Things are moving faster. Okay, now, I have not gone out in the wilds where people are suspicious about how the wilds are behaving. Here, we're going to see some moderate action. This is where I like to roll, is this moderate line. Unless I need something. First one's free, kid. Bom. What does it open up? How easy. Third level. Now we can, just in case you're looking at this going, archery. I heard it's bogus. This is going to be a rough bow stave. This is what we have to work up to, and this is why you save up some resin at first, even though you only need to make one of these. I mean, really, you'll only have to make one. Then you can make two just for fun. But you'll see it for a long time as you work through your coarse wood bow. And since they've added steps, because they have the fine coarse wood bows coming up, and you can use it, but it'll take a long time to wear out this one. It will. You can just give it to a friend. Well, if you have friends. Just leave it in the freezer. Ooh, what a bad return. So 5 woodstock, 1 rawhide. I didn't get any feathers back. That's where they're taking you. Right in the feathers, man. Now, it's supposed to be the cheapest product going back first, and many people talk about recycling, right? They talk about how recycling, why don't we have recycling? It's the other thing people ask for besides buy orders, which today Terra's guard grew, and such did so to her treasury. It's good to be green and gold. To be green and gold. Is that... Now in the Army, they used to tell you could go from, green to gold. That was the officer transition for those re-entering after serving in Vietnam. They had typically, come back, decided to re-enlist. They had made staff sergeant, typically, I think, but they would move you up, ahead of ranks into the lieutenant as a commissioned officer. Commissioned officers are funny. They can fire them anytime. Now, flint head arrows do not take roughed arrow shafts. If you just, if you thought, oh, everything got screwed up. If you just haven't noticed that yet, maybe you haven't made any flint with arrows, flint head arrows. They're very easy. The flint used to be difficult to find. Now it just bleeds out of the hills like crazy in big, huge chunks. It's like a seeing eye resource. Just for those who might have a difficult time, seeing things, flint is definitely much easier. So the missing ingredient, of course, is longwood stock. And that's just unacceptable. Let's go out there and chop down a tree. Because trees are our friends. Trees are our friends. Anybody used to watch Yo Gabba Gabba? That was so funny. Animals are our friends. But then the bear shows up. And they're like, bear, but we like him. And the bear doesn't eat the children, which is contrary to reason. Oh well, it's a cartoon. And then the rest of the animals have to accept the bear, which is called suicidal empathy. Yes. So, no, we have to invite the bear. And look, he's acting all friendly. Oh, demure bear. He's going to eat you. But we're a big tent party. All I see is a pitch a tent party. They're all pitching tents. Our first Sergeant Gibson was a Marine who, after Vietnam, took care of that. Who, after his service in Vietnam, left the Marines and went into the NCO ranks in the U.S. Army. While I was a small child, and by the time I joined the military in '87. And at a delayed entry. But do I need another tree? Oh, I need more longwood stock. It's always chopping trees. It's fantastic. Chopping trees gives me such a thrill. I don't want to chop anybody else. When I chop about you, splinter myself? I don't really want to say touch myself. Ooh. Everybody remember the Divinals? Ooh. They're a French group. They had a few albums. Then they came out with this big hit. Put it up for the American audience, and the American audience bid on it for a while. They probably retired on that one-hit wonder. Oh, well, of course, they had plenty of hits that were popular in their own country, to some extent, if not a great extent. Do it. Do it. Don't run out of stamina. Thank you. Maybe they sped up the server. I didn't look at Discord, like, right before. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of just out there. I could look at Discord. Nah. Celine's been running really well. The mule's breathing kind of hard because I have still yet to blow it out. It's really not much. I mean, it looks great. It's just, it's got a little bit of fuzz. I've never let my PC get to any sort of state because personally I don't like cleaning them. So I clean them extremely well. That way when I clean them, at least it's always easier. You can do it. Oh, come on. You got to do it with the finger. Got to do it with the left clicky. The left mouse clicky. All proper terms. A mouse actually has a real name, you know, like, well, it was like a trackball pointer, or, you know, there's other things. We just demanded it called a mouse. I mean, how original is the term mouse? Probably just about as original as the item itself. Probably the first day this item existed. Because, man, they used to have like a big button on the top, which just was maybe a two-way directional, but it wasn't scroll. It was just a two-way directional, you know, things like that. Out of stamina. Warrior is tired. Warrior needs food. Warrior is dead. Always chop these down. Really, don't forsake them. They give you resin. They wear down your axe. It's the same amount of wood and chopping as you would get. You do 16 for the big tree, you get 70 some odd wood or more. You do 2 chops and you get 8 or 7 with the lesser. I don't do snags. They're ugly. Yes, yes, you grouse. I bet the boars are back down here. When they messed up resources, people would say, it used to be every home valley had everything everywhere. I mean, really everywhere. Everything everywhere. To go to a particular place and look for something, well, ore. Was it spread out more? Was there as much? They increased ore. Perhaps during verse 1 or verse 2, into verse 2. I believe they increased it. But they haven't changed it since. They've changed of ore what you will see. You know, you might have seen iron there in the past. Might have. It depends. If you go out to the quarries, which used to be pretty much just a monocrop. You go out there and you'd find iron, wrought iron, and the pure iron's out in the woods. But that all got mixed up, and more copper and tin got put in the mix. And then you find now, well, for a while you found copper and tin in the quarries, and then that disappeared. And so, you know, it's varied. But when some people would say, well, hold it, now there's less. Well, I've been around that whole area around the quarry here in Reeds, and many other people have too. I've also renegotiated my markings with Dev Leon's compilation, however he collects that information. That, he talks so much you yawn. I can't stop talking, it's a disease. I am dirty blonde, so it's ill communication. Because you can't, you won't, and you don't stop. Because you can't, you won't, and you don't stop. Because you can't, you won't, and you don't stop. Something in the shock and the sure shock. I need the... Oh, come on, stop it. Yes, when the tree is in a rock and you can't get the bead, just swing at it with the left click key. Or skip it. Wood. The final frontier. These are the stories of the wood chop exercise. So, when Mainframe started this, this is the most action you get out of anything, but what? Yeah, the excrementer, who gives you the staff of defilement. You know, that's my replacement for Buffalo 66 on DVD. You know, baby, won't you come dungeon crawling with me? I need to, you know, I need to get a defecating staff from a it's hard to get defecating and well, there's defecate, but there's the, dang it, excrement. From an excrementing NPC. I need to defecating staff from an excrementing NPC. Here we go! Right. Baby, won't you come dungeon crawling with me? I need a defecating staff from an excrementing NPC. I need a defecating staff from an excrementing NPC. Here we go. Now this is just to make an arrow. But when you go out, you might as well chop down enough trees to back up your wood supply, to back up your coal supply. And then once you're done with the bow and arrow, you go out hunting for deer where you've seen it. And here's one here. She's going to be a lucky girl, going to be kissed by Cupid pretty soon. Cat Cupid. The catnap Cupid. He's going to sting you in your butt, and you're going to fall in love with some stag. It's going to be a stag party. So you max out on wood. You get your chopping a little bit higher. It's like, man, how'd you get up in levels so fast? You are so fast. I just got from the bottom of level 9 to now here at level 10 when I started this. Not this particular, well, actually pretty close to this particular portion. No, I think by the time I joined up and went live, I am still live, am I? That I joined up and went live, that I might have gotten partially through, well, whatever the case may be, I did it very quickly. And you might have noticed how quickly the early stages do go, which should give you heart. They did maneuver the wood to make things better, so if you think they're bad, it's been worse. Mainframe. Testing what the market would bear. Really bear. Now I can get one blueberry. Well, I could get 2. I could learn to count. Why not? We used to say, man, you can't count your huevos twice and get the same number. There's only 2. That's a really big insult. Don't like to pound stone? Get that silver. Turn it to sand. Well, not everybody can do all the carpentry stuff. How many shutters do you need? How many candles can... Well, that's blacksmithing. Well, you know, you guys, I keep forgetting about you. And I don't have enough room, so you're lucky. Though, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Why don't you shoot something at it? I can't make one yet. Why don't you steal one of Garrett's? That's not fair. I have to consider. I need the skills myself. Yes, you can pick up everything. There are many things you can wear at the first level. Yes, be proud. Be proud. I'm an aardvark, and I'm happy. I'm an aardvark, and I'm something else. I don't know who wrote that, but it keeps coming back in my head. So, you need real string now. That's mentioned by everybody who has appreciation for old Paxi here. And it's not even old. Paxi's not old. Paxi's been around since '93 as a concept. We might have gotten... we gotta put some stuff over here. We might have gotten... we might have started with Unreal 5.3, excuse me. 5.3, Unreal Engine 5.3. Which is a 24 release. But since 5.7... Okay, so 5.8 is not full release. It's actually planned for full release in the future, but you can get it right now. You can get a free copy right now, and in fact, they're all free at first until you have sales. Or you buy, of course, assets from their market, right? But if you get 5.8 and you look it up, you're going to see experimental all over the place. And so they don't recommend at all that you put it in any game that you plan on fielding. Even if you're just a badass and you know how to go, yeah, I can do Star Citizen, man, I'll beat him to the punch with 5.8. And you actually know how to do all that, write storylines, do narratives, do motion capture and animation improvements and animation connections and connectivity, so you don't have to stutter from one animation to the next. You have fluid animations, which makes larger files. You know how to do meshing and texture layering, all meshed together and making it all work. It don't matter. It'll be unstable. And it's going to be unstable for like 6 months to have 5.8. So You might think, well, hold it. What about 5.7? You're always talking about, right? 5.7. I'm always talking about. I need a. She's a lady killer. She's a lady killer. I'm for dancing too. You're the one. Woo! They used to sing that really boring by the time I was old enough to go anywhere place they'd sing it. I forgot who it was now. I'll have to look it up again. It wasn't my time. Oh, come on. I mean, I had stupid punk rock by the time I grew up, like Bitchin' Camaro. Bitchin' Camaro. I got a brand new car. It's only Bitchin' Camaro. Oh, what is it? Yeah, Bitchin' Camaro. I ran over my neighbor. Bitchin' Camaro. Donuts on your lawn. Once I had a Bitchin' Camaro with something else to match. If I happen to run you over, please don't leave a scratch. That was rich kid punk rock. They had the song Punk Rock Girl. They had, what was that? You're in Africa, but I'm not. You're in, like, Vegas, and I'm not. I'm not. That's impossible. It's imp. I mean, the punk rock had gone kind of pop by the time anybody was around. Destination, Ruby. I mean, the Sex Pistols were still kind of going, but Sid Vicious was about to be played by Gary Oldman. Nobody remembers that? Just in case you thought like Fifth Element was his first movie, which would be really ridiculous, since there was The Professional and other things. Many things. Many things. So 5.8, 6 months from now, might reach some stability for developers to actually try to start applying it to asset improvement over 5.7. Now, Ashes of Creation, may she rest in peace, and may that developer take a few courses in ethics and show enthusiasm for them. But they were on 5.7, and 5.7 was officially released basically in the fall of 25. They say November, but they were announcing it in September. So they were a bit earlier on that. And that's months. But before, if you go to the 6-month, 8-month run, you've been able to mess with 5.8 for, I don't know, 2 months now? More probably. Especially if you're a developer that they'd like to get it in the hands of, you would think. Hey, we want you to see this. Get your hands on it. That happens, and most people know that. But so that's how much farther ahead 5.7. So what's 8-9 months ahead of September, 2025. Well, that's going to be 2024. 5.3 and 5.4 are basically released in 2024. So you could be looking at 5.7. You could be working out certain details in the engine to propose a game. You don't have to be using 5.3, which you're creating the game in. And verse 1 was a totally different experience. I still have some footage from verse 1, and other people do too. It's a serious thing to say, well, hold it. Did Mainframe pitch Pax Dei from a 5.7 engine demo? While releasing it on pre-alpha and alpha early access, right? In 5.3, and then moving up to 5.4 by verse 3, because, well, verse 4, you know what I mean? At the end of the 3, they moved to 5.4. Is this what happened? And then because, 5.5 was really a wash, because Unreal, if you read by all accounts, 5.6 is simply 5.5s, the Unreal Engine for all us normal people, and the Fortnite Unreal Fortnite engine 5.5 that was made to do live editing in Fortnite. When they moved to 5.6, we do live editing here. They can come in and replace my building. If there's another physics collapse and I don't touch it, they could come in and replace the building. It's quite wonderful. These are trivial, so let's just hit it. And so, when did they propose Pax Dei? Was it close enough to 5.6 and 5.7 to say they used that? Because the water effects, you know, that they say they turned off. Well, water effects were moved forward much better, but they didn't highlight water in any of the footage. Any of the promotional footage, they did not highlight water at all. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying horses. I'm saying NPC action and weather action that they put in game. Also atmospheric action. Plus there was other things. So it just seems to me it's well, I could be way off. Of course, not could be. I probably am. But it seems to me that 5.7 looks a lot more like what Pax Dei was proposed to be than the game engines before 5.7. The packages and the capabilities that Mainframe's still waiting for. They have to give us more personal style. There has to be more personal variation in our appearance. Our appearances have gotten clearer. What we look like, yeah, we might only have brief glimpses of each other. But eventually we're going to be talking face to face. They even show that one scene in their promotion, which I don't cut in, because it's do. What is it? Stop. Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Do. So it looks like, the guy is walking up to the female. It might be a gal in a hood who's just thin and V-shaped, but walks up and puts his arm on the shoulder of the woman and says, "Look at the kingdom we built together, and thank you. I'm grateful to you." Whatever, whatever you ladies need. But that's all men are up to. Whatever you ladies need. No, you don't look fat in the dress. You make the dress look fat, honey. Hold it, that didn't work? No. But pretty hot and tempting. That Chris Tucker thing, unless he says it. But that's where they're supposed to be. Now 5.8 will be the last of the Unreal 5 series that they have planned. That's it. It's going to Mesh World. And whether that will help us keep Pax Dei the way it is, well, it's not going to, we're not talking about a forced change. We're talking about Longwood Side. So I was trying to watch for that, but 5.8 might not even help Pax Dei run faster because, well, its big things are world shape. 5.6, which we're on right now, I'm wondering if they're going to turn back on the water. Now, personally, on their home machines, they could be running water demonstrations and correcting, because there's lots of different operations. You can change the water, you can get the foaming, you can get it to ride its banks, but it will overflow, and then you can change the banks, and it's nice. The water is very nice. It can show you wading through it, and the water alone has a lot of life, flowing down mountains and things like that. It'll be baked in. You know what I mean? It'll be baked in. But you will also have effects where you walking through it will have ripples. But the water itself is baked in. And it's really nice the way it operates over stones and everything else. It's very nice. Very nice. You can take my word for it. Anyway, you can. Gotta make rough bowstring. Used to be so easy, you just needed sinew. So anyway, make a couple. Why didn't I make rough bowstring? Well, I ran it into the trivial, right? And so at least if I'm only going to make 2, I want to make You know, I want to put my best foot forward there. Besides, I got plenty of this. You can make a stack, but you're not going to need it. You're not going to need rough bowstring. It doesn't break. That'd be interesting if your bowstring broke, because your bow takes so long to wear out. That'd be a fun thing. Then you might have to keep one on you, and it'd be one less inventory space you can use until you had the strings. So it's a consumable. You know, there's instruments I keep on me, like the axe, which I can repair again. But if I couldn't, I'd keep it on me knowing it's going to be a consumable space. I'll be able to use that space. Let's make 2. Well, I made 2 bow staves. Might as well get that little 106. 106, wow. For a trivial. Woo! Woo! Anyway, be serious. Now, I tell you, I do make 2 of every weapon. Well, why? Oh! I could leave this in someone's trunk now, and they'll know I was there. Because if I look in their free trunk and grab some nice fruit bread or stuff like that, that's a nice thing to leave. That's what I see these things as. How else can you say, hey, I was here? They say, hey, who took all my... Hold it, they left a bow. Oh, it's a nice bow. No, I go, cool. It's the thought that counts, isn't it? Can we do it twice? No, it wouldn't be special. See, good. I can't do it twice. Because I don't want to see that twice. No. What is it, 95%? Yeah, I'm way past it now. Good. But success. Very nice. And I can come back, make a bunch of flint head arrows, right? It's more longwood stock and stuff like that. And you're like, what, you're going to do it now? Well, it is. It's around at the bench. Are you going to nickel and dime yourself to death? That's one of the points. There's a lot of social. There's a lot of what to do. There's a lot to do in Pax Day. You just got to get into it, and you got to grind past these first elements, right? If you just say, hey, thanks for the equipment. Let's go out dungeoning. And they're going to go like, yeah, do you need new armor yet? Yeah, another pair of bronze would be fine. And they're like, you're still on bronze? You know, you poor person. You know, they'll feel sorry for you. And that could be awkward. And I would like things to turn out better for you. But getting up to level 20, right? You're going to go up in level using that stuff. You can go way up in linens, man, if you never want to wear armor. In fact, magic users and even healers, while you went out, should be reduced to basic armor, shouldn't they? Well, excuse me, linens, like D&D rules. Or does that even matter? Oh, that cat. Missing ingredient just in time. It's not missing. I know where more are. There's trees full of them. Wow. We get so little done for the money. We're only going to make 50. Because really, we don't need to make more. We need to move on to bronze. Now, of course, Catnap is a beginner when it comes to arrows, but flinthead arrows are a bit more dependable than wood arrows now. Wood arrows have changed. Wood arrows used to be just completely, why do anything else until you're actually wanting hits on NPCs. Of course, there's larger boars and animals, and you do sometimes want to draw them loose away from an area that's, difficult to have combat on. You might not have good footing, and they'll be able to get up on a boulder, right, and bite you in ways that the shield doesn't cover. And that's actually something fun about Pax Day, is that they can get around your shield. It's just not this automatic force shield that goes up, and you get to just say, hey, I'm behind the shield, right? You can get hit from behind. Now, can every game do that? Well, no. Some games, Myth of Empires was nice. You could put your shield on your back, and you had a defense on your back. and that's something Pax Dei should do too. But yeah, the shield is often, it can be a kind of a funny shape. Here it seems that, man, if you let them a little around your shield, you're getting nailed. Glorious, I know. Now, personally, I'm going to cut this down just to an hour tonight. Mainly it was just to, talk about where's the current state of Pax Dei. They start with this, what they want. And everybody else wanted too, and they were pretty thrilled that everybody else wanted stuff. And, I don't think they were very clear. Well, when you make a AAA game, you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing, do you? I mean, some people try that, but it doesn't work out for them. It fails. AOC failed because of all the input. Star Citizen has lots of purchases, and they tell people what they're doing, and people cheer for it. But when it comes to actual input, I don't know, they're probably very polite about, constructive criticism and stuff. But as far as I've heard, and I could be easily corrected, of course, they're doing what they want. So, shuffling things away, because being organized is so polite. If you are getting into a clan or you're worried about it, and you're like, oh damn it, it's just going to be a bunch of drama. Yes, it might be. There'll be somebody who wants to haze you, and they suck at it. You can't see them, and they're using the same line, and everybody else is used to them, and you have to endear them. Yeah, it's all that. It's all that stuff. And you might be the person they have to endear. Maybe you're one of those hazers, right? Maybe that's one of your problems, huh? You go in and you like to haze a little. Well, not everybody likes that, and sometimes you haze the wrong person, and then you notice this undercurrent, don't you? Maybe? A little bit of an undertow. Now, you guys need to be some cooking stuff. And so, yeah, I get to move on with Catnap. We're housebound, chopping trees, getting the cooking done, because it's all about getting past level 10, right? And then it's about getting past level 20, and then level 30, and then level 40. But it takes a long time to get to 20. The exercise is maintaining momentum and just getting the first level 10, in any old thing. You'll be beyond that in normal things like wood chopping and picking and many forms of combat, but you don't stick with your spear until you're level 20 unless you really want the abilities that spear gives you at a higher level. Please consider that. Now, we don't have professions. Everybody can be a master of everything. Even Pax Dei XM is still arguing, is there room past level 40? Most games go to 60. So, why doesn't Pax Dei go to 60? Well, maybe they can spare that area for that mastery that's too expensive. That's too difficult for a person to just do everything. You really have to be a master. And so those people who have managed to do that, which, will just be percentages, right, of everybody. If about 8,000 people per month, individuals, not unique individuals, 8,000 unique individuals are more than estimated, or it's approximate, of course, so it can be over or under depending on the day. Unique players at this point, at this month, in this, in July. In July just passing, the total was 8,000 on average. So if everybody said, well, hey, I want to be a blacksmith, or hey, I want to be a carpenter, and then they work up through all these trades, and they've even them way up. They got level 30 and everything, and they creep up to level 140 in the things they do most. Maybe not cooking, maybe not jewel making, maybe not alchemy. There's things left loose. But then these masteries above 40 show up, right? These masteries where all of a sudden, well, okay, it gets kind of expensive or kind of risky. Maybe they could add a few resources. Maybe you have to know things in order to access the resources. Like an alchemist needs to know a certain level of magic to withdraw the resource. So you can't even get it. You can't go out and grind it unless you are up to that level of mastery in the 40s. You see, this is what I thought Pax Dei was talking about originally. This is what I thought Mainframe was talking about originally. I think they need to go back. They need to look again. They need to give us a lot of hard love. They need to give us a lot of hard love. And instead of doing this trickle economy, go back to, do a bit of trickling just to get over this dry spell with this, a bit of, homesteading and stuff like that, right? this homesteading idea, and maybe a few little building items that are going to trickle out. But they already had those. They already have many things. Do they need to be remodeled? Do they need to be rebaked because the assets have changed? Maybe that's what happened to the aprons. Maybe the 5.3 aprons didn't move forward. Maybe that was simply it. Maybe the 5.3 chainmail, which is kind of we have half on, but we don't just have that chainmail. You remember that? It was just chainmail. You look like you were in a chainmail sleeping bag, but it was chainmail. It was dark. Everything was fuzzy back then because nothing was baked in. They didn't want to bake things in because it made it hard to change. Unreal made it easier. Unreal started making it easier. And so now they're working, they can run up that hill. Others are complaining, oh, you're just using AI to code. Okay. So, as opposed to what? If you're writing the same thing over and over again, why not have AI help? If you're a small shop trying to make one of the largest games on the planet, well, okay, Star Citizen's bigger. Kinda. Certainly more expensive in a smaller space. They certainly have more stuff in a smaller space, but you don't have an individual home, you live in a hive, right? At least they have a bounty system where there's crimes in the game, and someone can just pick up a bounty. And it's not personal. I guess you could make it personal. The criminals, I think, still make more money than the bounty's reward. But it's pretty inconvenient to get shot, shot or whatever else. Can you steal their vessels? Or will your vessel just spin up in the air with another vessel it met and fell in love with? Have you seen those? Seen those just in love, spinning in the air? Sometimes there's three, which is just, just turn your back, don't let the kids look. But there's all sorts of things that happen in Star Citizen that are incredibly disappointing. In fact, Pax Dei will never disappoint you like Star Citizen, but Star Citizen has a $1.5 billion in investments, equally from users who have bought things, as in people who have too much money in life and want to spend it on video games, especially ones that go on for nearly 2 decades without turning a profit. Except for the people eating lunch and making the game, they're living high on the hog, which was, AOC couldn't manage that, but they seem to be wanting to imitate Star Citizen. Really. Though I don't know. We haven't heard a scandal about RSI. So anyway, I thank you very much for spending your time. I thank you very much for the time you take. I've just noticed this increased amount of time that the 4K level takes to get up on YouTube. And so it makes a live video. Oh, sure. Do I mind? No, I just want them to come up a bit sooner. And, doing an hour, I have the kids starting school the 12th. And so, we got the first, okay, so, I'd like to change my hours or go longer, really, because my playtime is longer. But is it worth it? Really, well, it's not. I don't get paid. So it's just a matter of whether anybody enjoys it or not. There's a lot of content in Pax Dei, and I pick the best. Mine is the daily lore. I was just telling this person in chat, talking about their bread, talking about what it took to get bread. To me, that's fun. If you find it really boring, if you find the experience of showing up every day and doing something that's meaningful, that could be a bit permanent, and you meet people who are also trying to do this, well, you're seeing what Second Life was at, I think, 20,000 users and above, a week. I was going to say monthly, but it had a lot more than that. I could look back at the record, but it had a couple 100,000 very often. We had 25,000 show up and crash the system when the group, the now ancient group, U2, showed up live in Pax Dei. They had just done their album Rattle and Hum. That's how early Pax Dei was. U2 showed up in Pax Dei. I got to see them, their avatars. You could hear their voices. It was so cool. And then the whole place crashed when we hit 25. Well, we were at 25,000 people, but I could explain. Anyway, it was fun. And we got back in, and a lot of people who had paid to see you two, got the extended show, and a bit of where they performed live in a studio, broadcasting into Pax Dei, and the absolute lamest musical animations were applied to their avatar. So I'm glad I don't have that in my head, because it would be pretty laughable. Right, Catnap? Why don't we have instruments? I've seen the animation variety, and that's the one I'll go off on. I want to look at that again. The animation in Variety in Unreal is one of their hallmarks. The problem is it's very expensive outside. Okay, you can spam animations. So even the AAAs are very selective with the styles they pick, because one flows to the next, and other ones don't necessarily flow to the next. Some end in a standing position, so if you have them transition into a crouch, you might see a quick snap to a crouch. Understand? You often want things that go from a stand and then start from a stand. They want to end where they start. Or you have to motion capture the difference. A quick crouch or something else. Well, not motion capture, but just animate. Motion capture being an old term for capturing motion. Anyway, not the right thing. So, I thank you guys. May the Lord bless you. Vote. Get out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. This is America. If they do it my way, we'll go back to electoral votes where you need to vote through a representative. I don't think people should be able. They're too easily swayed. You know what I mean? The popular vote, which the Republicans won this time, but I'm still not for it. I'm not suddenly for the popular vote. Popular votes often fall under tyrannical, totalitarian, communist, socialist, Marxist developments. I think I mentioned it yesterday how someone on the news, maybe it was Jesse Waters on the 5, he was like, none of these communists in our country, because they're communist Marxists. Socialists is just a nice little handshake before they steal your life. He was saying these guys aren't quoting any of the Scandinavian socialists, and I was like, okay, that's a fair cop. Yeah, they're quoting Marxists, Russian, Stalin, Lenin, Trotsky. Not Tolstoy, is it? No, but they're quoting that. And on top of that, I hear that Russia is having a very difficult time now that they've tried to lay waste to the Ukraine. And while I wish I saw Russia come to their knees because of their ways of living without destroying the Ukraine, but for whatever reason God chose, to us to learn our lessons by watching the Ukraine become this battle zone over a pipe valve. Not that the Ukrainians picked it over a pipe valve, but the Soviets. Yeah, hey, it's a complicated issue. It's a complicated issue. But remember, European Union, Soviet Union, Union of European Socialist Republics, Union of European Socialist Republics, the UESR, back in the USSR, the UESR. United does not mean union. In America, united does not mean union. A lot of people seem to be coming over, they're saying that. We might have a civil war soon. That'd be a lot of fun. Not. But we're well armed on the right. Ready on the right. You might want to be ready on the left here. Yeah, it's going to get tough. Hey, people are going to be out of food, places to live, out of job, out of the economy. This is where it comes from. Read books about civil war. If somebody thinks it's, something more nefarious, no. Civil war is actually just back down to basic needs. That's usually where it goes. Everybody's trying to get off the ship. Well, fights break out. Everybody's trying to get on the plane. Well, fights break out. It's not about racism at that point. War of the Worlds shows it. The people stuck in the town trying to get on the ferry, right? And they all start going to hell over it. Punching Tom Cruise in his pretty little face because they want his minivan, right? This is where they show people breaking down. Well, that's a script. Okay, well, they can go to history. It's just, we often don't have films of history, just words. Catnap, all right. May the Lord bless you. And Lord bless you. Take his hand. Take his hand. The times are coming. No, there's not a doomsday. It's always getting closer. Every day's closer, period. History's coming to a finite point, not a circular up and down. You know, the sociologists say. We go from a high, then we go to a low. But we never go as low because we've learned. And so we're always getting higher. So eventually, our low will be just like our highest high. This is all. You know, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. All right. Take it easy. Keep your sticks on the ice. What red-green show, man? I need to duct tape mine down. Keep your sticks on the ice. Isn't that what he... Yeah, right? Keep your sticks on the ice. Anyway, good night, guys. We gotta work, catnap, and go to the bathroom. Keep that stick on, never on the ice. Good night, everybody. Good to see you again, Billy. You're very reasonable to rage quit. Good to see you again, Flo. Athena. And there's someone else. Spectre. If you're lurking. And broadcast.